They're on the floor and they're ready to score. So let the game begin. And let's see how the ball's gonna bounce today. Welcome to NBA. Come on and join the rest of the crowd. There's another classic about from your way. You'll see the best in basketball.
Welcome to Rod's Tabletop Hoops. Today we have a little bit of an unpackaging of, if you've seen the title of the video, Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball. But what Strat-O-Matic are we talking about here? Because I already own the game that came out around 1980. And just there's some of the typical cards you see, the advanced action cards there, the original instructions for basic, advances at the back, a printout of the entire instruction booklet, a little more modernized version in a PDF format. And there's some advanced game cards from 1965-66. And no, these were never ever printed in real life. There was someone who took the card images off the computer and then put them into a spreadsheet and printed them out. And I said, could I take a look at those? And so I printed them out as well. And so you get a guy like Wilt Chamberlain from 1966. And you can kind of see that he, with very, very small type here, his steals, his blocking ability, his scoring ability from inside. So there's Wilt the Stilt, the Philadelphia 76ers of 66, a great small group of teams. And the person who created this, named Derek, he did a fantastic job with it. He said he had to go through multiple times finding little tiny errors on each one of those outside penetration, inside fast break, and 3-point columns. So anyway, I played a couple games with it. And as most of you know, it's not, Strat-O-Matic is not the first game that I pull out of my closet every time. But either way, this particular game I've been looking on eBay for. And I'll talk about it a little bit more after I get the cat out of the bag, so to speak. So here's the big package. And by the way, this package took like 2 weeks to get here, and it was stuck in Cincinnati for like 10 days before it finally hit the Pacific Northwest. So I already cut the right side, so let's see what's actually in here. Oh my goodness. Packaged pretty well. A lot of bubble wrap. Not a box, but a lot of bubble wrap. All right, getting closer. Well, right, moving right along in the process here. And I bought this on eBay. I've been looking around on eBay for this for quite a while, just peeking at it, not really wanting to necessarily get it, but if the price was right and the condition was right of the game, I wanted to see what the original Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball box and game and everything looks like. So this is it. This is Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball, the original, the one that came out around, 1972, 73. It just like the modern one, it's 2 games in one. You got your basic and your advanced version. It says basic for teens, advanced for adults. I would be playing advanced as a preteen in my world, basically, when I see a game like this, because I played Fast Break in 1979 and picked it up in about 10 minutes. This game, similar to the updated version in 1980 in some respects, but many respects they've changed it all around. So I think the defense is a little more precise per se, and I just wanted to see this. Long story short, I saw it on the marketplace for $65, and I said, I'm not going to pay $65 and $14 shipping. So I came in and offered $45. They said, $55. And then I said, okay, $50. Came back the third one. They took it. Once again, it came from Ohio. Spent about 10 days in Ohio, and then finally they got on the truck and made it all the way out here to Gresham, Oregon. So anyway, I wanted to see what the condition was like for just 50 plus 14, $64.50. I thought that was pretty good. I'd seen this game with full sets of teams. I did not get an incomplete set of teams with this one. It's probably the selector set or whatever they had at the time. I've got 6 great teams in here, so I'm not going to, have every single team. I think you can buy them from a Teams for You site, but they want to charge $15 to $20 just for a single team, and that's outrageous. But it's supply and demand, I guess. If that person can sell it, that's good for them. But anyway, this is the front box. Looks pretty good. It's got some damage on the sides. You can see it kind of wobbles a little bit there, but there's a little damage over here, like it was stacked under a few other games. You can see the little wobble in that, but overall, the face of it looks pretty good. The color looks pretty good. I really like the clip art. It's just so hilarious how they had limited resources back in the early 70s, and they went with that. But anyway, that's a pretty good looking box. I don't know if I can hang that box here. That looks fairly good. All right, we'll make that work. And let's see what is inside the box. Look like some pretty good game parts. Reasonably close to complete as far as that. My biggest concern, of course, was having the fast action cards, or whatever they call them in Strat language. And we got this little pile, very small stack of fast action cards. Now, these things look like they're in better shape than I remember seeing them in the photos. But once again, just like the modern day advanced action cards, real small little fonts, but at the same time, they're crisper. I think they're even crisper than those advanced action fonts. But there's rebound situation. There's the passing situation, right guard to left guard. Yeah, these are the actual original cards. I was originally thinking that the cornering on these cards was going to be a little bit off, so I might take my small corner rounder on them, but maybe I won't even have to do that. These things look like they've barely been played with, actually. They're in much better shape, or the person who had them took very good care of them. So anyway, I don't know how these things work, but I'd probably have to try out a game of basic or advanced, go to advanced if I feel like it. Oh, and looky there, I got a free penny. I mean, that is just found money right there. So I got a penny as well. Let's see what's in here. We got looks like a bunch of pawns. I don't think these are the original pawns, but we do have some interesting dice. And I saw a lot of game parts. I see 3 dice. I don't know if these are the original dice, but they definitely look old. So those could be original Strat-O-Matic dice. The first game, even the dice are small. These guys like small font and small dice. I mean, look at the font on the game cards. This is your Chicago Bulls. Bob Weiss. They are in rubber bands, which I will remove, but that is, it looks like we get about 10 guys per team or so. And there's Dennis Autry. These are this has got to be the advanced version of card. And this is the basic version of cards. So I can tell they break down the passing a little more on the advances. I was looking at of course, you look at one of these on eBay. The first thing you do is you start scanning the photos and zooming in on the photos and just seeing what the condition is like and seeing how much of a game card you can actually look at. And you can see with the passing, from the right guard position, you can do dazzlers and percentage shots. So they had dazzlers way back in 73. So they kind of beat Jim Mickey by less than a season, basically, getting the auto assist, so to speak. And Bob Weiss is a good one. Dennis Autry actually has good dazzler 1 to 4 and turnover on 5 to 6. So maybe he had a good passing year. I don't remember him being that great a passer, but with the basic game, I don't believe you're going to have that little advantage. You don't have that, the point guards will have a little bit less value. I don't think there's auto assist, but then again, that's just me. Dice work pretty well. Garfield Hurd before he became a Buffalo Brave. There's Jim King. And Chet the Jet Walker, may he rest in peace. He's passed away a while back. Oh, see, his passing's percentage shots. So he's getting you to a percentage shot, but you're not getting the dazzler. So he's obviously thinking about scoring more than he is passing. Bob Butterbean Love, he passed away more recently. And he's got a lot of percentage shots as well, but this guy should be able to shoot the rock as well. But just fascinating cards. I'm going to go through another team here. Here's Paul Westphal. I was just watching on YouTube a 1974-75 Celtics-Rockets playoff game, and Paul Westphal, I don't know, I know that the Celtics had a lot of good guards, including JoJo White and Don the Duck Cheney, but Paul Westphal, one of the most underrated guards. He was making unbelievable moves in this playoff game at Hoffines Pavilion in Houston, where the Rockets had not moved into the Summit yet. They were playing in a college arena. And Westphal's going down on breaks, doing 360 spins and banking in shots right and left. And his jumping ability is fantastic. He's got a lot of Pistol Pete in him, believe it or not. With more athleticism, he could leap out of a building. So, Paul Westphal eventually got his claim to fame when they traded him and Charlie Scott straight up. A well-known backup versus a established star in Charlie Scott. And the Celtics got what they wanted. They went to the finals. The Suns got what they wanted. They went to the finals in 75, 76, and Westphal was just as amazing in the 76 finals as he was in this playoff game. I just could not believe how incredible he was and how he had to sit on the bench for 73, 74, 75, at least 3 years before he got a chance to start. And, he would have had much bigger stats if he had been able to play full time, because he's just a talent. There's Don Nelson, still around, probably about 81 years old or so, maybe older. There's Donald Duck Cheney. That guy can defend. And he was really a pretty good shooter. In that same game, Cheney had like 18 points in the first half. They weren't even playing JoJo White. Cheney and Westphal were doing all the damage. And this is a fantastic Celtics team. And we'll see. I'm going to have to play a test game and see if this team, they won 67? Did they win 67 games? It was a huge number. 68? I can't remember, but one of the best teams ever to not win the entire NBA championship, just like those Warriors that won over 70 games, 73-9, did not win the championship. Used all their energies during the regular season. Also, Havlicek got hurt. So here's Dave Cowens. So I'm just looking for rebound numbers. When I'm looking at defensive rebounding 1 to 4. And offensive rebounding 1 to 5. So that must be pretty good. And this is based on the 1972-73 season. And so this was the year before they started keeping offensive rebounds for individual players. So I don't know how they made their estimates, probably based on the total team stats. But you can see he's got an outside shot, inside shot, close, back, and if he's double teamed. So you can double team. And that's the two of the biggest keys to Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball in its history have been the ability to play this game with 2 players. And you can set up all of these. We haven't even looked at the game board yet. And you can designate a double team player. You can designate a few positionings on defense. And that makes this a great 2-way game. And solitaire, you just kind of got to say, I'm not going to try harder for the other team than I would for my own. And so there you go. There's Cowens. JoJo's got a couple dazzler from left guard, more from right guard. Probably one's more of a point guard position. John Havlicek. You can't go wrong with John Havlicek. He's even got dazzlers at both positions. He plays forward and guard. Great swingman. Rest 3 minutes. That guy could play a whole game. So, I was looking for, they do have the stats on the year, and they're on the basic section. I do appreciate that. Great foul shooting, great rebounding for a guard, great passing. Really a very underrated player on his own. 16 seasons in basketball for John Havlicek. And there's a team defensive card. So I'm going to have to learn what things are going on. Penetration outside. I wonder when you pick those things out. So that's that is the Boston Celtics in a nutshell. What else do I got? I was going to check out the 1973 Lakers. So let me tell you who I got. I got the Celtics and the Bulls, as you've just seen. I also got the Los Angeles Lakers, and this is the year after they won the title with 69 wins. I think they won 60 or 61. I can't remember. But either way, very good team still. Wilt Chamberlain in his final season. Gosh darn it, we would hope he would have played for the San Diego Conquistadors of the American Basketball Association. That is my Christmas present to myself, an ABA basketball I got from Lena Sports in December. They had it 30% off. They had no shipping. I said, okay, I'm pulling the horn. I have a basketball hoop outside. I want to get some use out of that when the weather gets just a little bit better, but it's got a nice surface and it's really a cool basketball. I'm not disappointed. It comes with a game bag if you want to, take it somewhere. It's really a neat basketball. So catch it when it's on sale, though. It's still an expensive ball. However, a lot of the proceeds from the sale go to the Dropping Dimes Foundation, which benefits former ABA players that did not get the pension that they rightfully deserve when the leagues merged. So, and the ABA guys, many of them are 75 to 85 years old. Many of them passed on. So it's a really good cause if you wanted to go to lenasports.com. Not trying to be an advertisement. Buy what you want. Don't buy anything, but I think it's a good cause. But there's the Dipper. And so he's got the 1-6 and 1-6 rebounding champion in his final year. I would just think he would not take many shots because here's inside, offensive foul. Yeah, Wilt should not have a lot of fouling because he never fouled out of an NBA game. But there's Wilt. Does he have a dazzler? He's got 3 dazzlers as well. So he's a good passer. I don't know enough about the cards yet, but 13.2, hit 72.7 from the floors. 1972-73 is always a year I'm always looking for a good game to play because they just a unique set of circumstances with Wilt at center, Jim McMillan at forward, and Jerry West, may he rest in peace, at the guard slot. And Jerry, I can't parse out exactly how good he is. He probably draws some fouls on 4, penetration, basket and foul on 3, but there's Dazzler from the left guard slot 1 through 6. So that's about as good as it gets right there. And so he did get over 6, got a lot of assists. 607. Gail Goodrich, Stumpy, his teammate from UCLA. Always a good scorer. Always a good shooter. Travis Machine Gun Grant was a rookie or second year man. I think he was a rookie. And there's the elementary for basic game. You can, I guess, position your guys with the markers. Keith Erickson did a lot of broadcasting after his career. Bill Bridges, who they acquired midway through the season because Happy Harrison, their power forward, got injured and missed at least 50 games. What was it? Played only 28. About 54 games missed, and I don't think he was very effective in the playoffs. And so Bridges came in, the 12, 13-year veteran, been playing since the early 60s. Did a pretty good job. Pat Riley, Jim Price, and Mel Counts, the Goose out of Oregon State University in the 60s. I've met him once. He was doing real estate for a company in Salem, Oregon, our state capital. So anyway, we got the Bucks. Johnny McLaughlin, Terry Driscoll, Mickey Davis, brother of Brad Davis, Chuck Terry. Chuck went to the ABA and did better. Dick Cunningham. All he has to do is show up, play about 3 minutes, and then let Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar do his thing. There's Lucius Allen, had a very good year. This team had just come off a championship in 71. They were probably good enough to win it again in this season, but I think the Warriors upset them in the playoffs in 73 somehow. But that's why you play the playoffs. There's Oscar Robertson, his second to last year. Conditioning started becoming an issue with Oscar. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 7'2", and don't know exactly how effective some of this stuff is until I get into a couple gameplays. He's a decent passer. Okay rebounder. He's not 1-6 like Wilt, but his foul shooting's 2-8. Shows his inside game, his outside game. You're generally going to use him from 15 feet and in. And there's the elementary defense of Milwaukee. And Bobby Dandridge, Hall of Famer, Norfolk State. Curtis Perry, Johnny McLaughlin, longtime broadcaster, in addition to being a great player, Terry Driscoll. And the final two teams, I don't know if anyone wants to see the New York Knicks in 1973. They just won the NBA championship of all things, but there's Jerry Lucas. That's basic. Let's go through the basics just to see what players do when they're man-to-man defense or being double-teamed. So it definitely helps when they are looking for a shot and it's just man-to-man. You get a 6, he nearly makes it, but if he's double-teamed, which the Knicks are so balanced, he shouldn't be double-teamed much, but maybe there's a rule about that occurring. Dean the Dream Meminger, Notre Dame, great rebounder for a 6'1" guard. John Giannelli, he was kind of the heir apparent to Willis Reed getting hurt, and so the Knicks were pretty much a done deal after the following year. Wow, look at that card on Giannelli. There's some inside shot, center position, in a penetration shot, foul position only. So there's like 3 different slots for him. And it shows his rebounding, I think, at different positions as well. Center and left forward. How interesting is that? Definitely far more complex than the basic game. Dick Barnell, welcome to the Hall of Fame. One heck of a shooter, fall back baby. That was his mantra. Phil Jackson, Big Chief Triangle, and Bill Bradley, Dollar Bill Bradley. I got a new book, a new Bill Bradley book from 1975. Not new, but I got to show you this. There it is, Bill Bradley, one to remember. I was in Corvallis, Oregon, home of the Oregon State Beavers, and my son goes there. He's a sophomore, and you can see this game. This book has works with a few authors and everything, but the bookstore in town, that used to be the textbook buyback store, and I never went to it when I was in Corvallis. I went to Oregon State in the 80s, but they had a lot of used books, and Bill Bradley, One to Remember, was right there, and I said, I got to see how much it is. It's $10, perfect condition, 1975. But, it's one of those books that I always like a different perspective from the era, and I want to know what they thought about Bill Bradley when he left for England to go for his Oxford scholarship, and then came back kind of out of shape and not in true basketball condition. And how did that first year in 67, 68 go? I mean, I've played a little bit of it with crunch time basketball and things, but it's like Bradley worked himself into shape and made himself a better player as he adapted to the league. He found out he was too slow to be an NBA guard. He became a very solid NBA forward, not John Havlicek, not the great forwards of the game, but a very solid and dependable forward, and this was a very cranial team, I'll say, for the New York Knicks, and they had a fantastic run from 69 through 74. There was not a team that was going to mentally beat the Knicks too often. So Bill Bradley, I loved it. It's like $10. I also want to bring up, if I see his name, well, there's Jerry Lucas. Where is the player I'm looking for? Oh, there's 2 Jerry Lucas cards. Why is that? Why would I have 2 Jerry Lucas cards? That's interesting. Well. There's Dave DeBuscher, one of the all-time greats. And there's the Knicks team defensive card. There's Walt Frazier, one of the best of all time. I am interested. Did I just get the same card twice? That is fascinating. Oh, there's Willis Reed. Oh. So there's Jerry Lucas at his multiple positions, I see. And so what does that exactly mean? Center position, penetration shot, forward position, Outside shot. Is this an identical card? That is the question. Why would I get two of them? Little collating issue over there at the Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball Game Company in Glen Head, New York. What the heck? It looks like two of the same card. Lucky me. I got a bonus card. And the other player I was going to try and show off was Earl the Pearl Monroe. And in that same visit in Corvallis, you swear I was just a Knicks fan, and I'm really not. The Earl of Pearl biography from a few years back, another $10 book. This thing's like new, but I always love to know a little bit in retrospect as well. So Bradley's from 1975. This is a modern day version, and so this is a recollection of Earl the Pearl and how great he was in college at Winston State. And he was putting up 40 points every single night. Winston-Salem. I'm sorry. Winston-Salem State, I believe. But, they got some good photography here. Of course, he was an all-star facing off against Wilt, playing against Wilt in the finals in 73 and 70. It's not in 70, just 73. But anyway, just his perspective, because he was always a little quieter than, not as flashy as Walt Frazier, but his game was flashy. It was Earl the Pearl's game, and he just was a wizard with the ball. But once again, he had to adapt his game to the New York Knicks style of play. He wasn't going to score 40 points a game. He was going to play the ball within the offense. But anyway, that was Earl the Pearl. One amazing player, still around. Glad to see that. But the final team is the Atlanta Hawks. So you got to get a little bit of Pistol Pete Maravich, correct? There's Sweet Lou Hudson. Pistol Pete, can he do anything here? Let's see. If he's double team, he scores there. He makes it there. If the other player's being double teamed, he scores a basket too. So I wonder how much double teaming actually comes into play if you're just doing solitaire. That's kind of a question for me. And of course, one of the greats from the 1960s, kind of in his final years, Walt Bell's Bellamy. He plays one more full season after that and then gets drafted by the, just like Pistol Pete got traded over to the expansion New Orleans Jazz, and he actually got picked out of the expansion draft, played one game as a Jazz player during that expansion year, and he was done after that. So there's Walt Bellamy. Still a decent rebound. It says rebounding 17 there, so there's quite a difference. There's a rebounding range here and a rebound number over there. So, I mean, you can take a look. You'd think he'd be an inside shooter. And 2's an offensive foul. That's not too much, though. And 10's a turnover. See, once again, they didn't keep individual turnovers for quite a while either. But it looks like it's based sometimes on the opponent defending rating. So I'm slowly learning little things without even having looked at the instruction booklet. And we're going to get into that in a second as well. Anyway, well, where's Pistol? I got to at least get Pistol before I flip away from these cards. Steve Bracey, Jim Washington, team defense, Sweet Lou. Did I not? Oh, Pistol was hiding behind Sweet Lou. Oh, yeah, I was looking at him for a while. I wanted to take a look at his advanced column. And what did he average that year? Per 48 minutes, gets about 28 shots off, 44%, 26.1 points per game, 80% from the free throw line. So, and he'd be an outside gunner here. Gets a basket on 3, draws a foul on 4. A lot of dependence on that opponent defensive rating. So a lot of these teams that I have are pretty good. So there's going to be some pretty good defenders, especially like in Chicago and New York. So we'll see how that works. But anyway, there's my 6 teams that I have. And if I ever want to get the entire roster, I could somehow filter them out. But a lot of these eBay auctions, they were going for $175 or more, just starting bid, or buy it now or whatever. It's like, no, I'm not buying an ancient Strat-O-Matic game for that much. So I feel I'm going to get my money's worth out of this, and I had a bargain for it just a little bit. But there's the 17 teams. Like I said, I can get the Warriors. I think they're about $18, but maybe I can negotiate with a guy on eBay, get it down to something reasonable, like $10. But if I don't like the game, I won't get it at all. Once again, it's still got some original score sheets, so that's kind of a nice feature to have. So once again, I think this game, I think it sat in a closet, might have gotten crushed a little bit by the boxes around it, but yeah, there's your score sheet. Now, this is one of the selling points of the game. As I showed you those instructions back there, there's a few pages you got to read to go basic, and then if you're in advanced to the pro, expert version, the advanced version, you got to go through all those pages. Well, I took one look at this, and I said, wow, all of the game instructions, they're all on one page. That's kind of neat. Tells you some of the games, and it's got the basic version over here. You go to the middle, there's the advanced version there. Looks like it won't be too difficult of a game. So that was one of the appeals of the game. And I did not even see this side of the board. It came with the referral chart right here. So there's the basic advanced game jump ball chart. We got the basic game defensive rating card, and then the basic and advanced game possible injury chart. So this will be quite interesting. I got to figure out how the FACs play into this whole thing. And like I said, though, one whole page, and I can read all of the instructions. I think that's a pretty cool feature, and I think that's what other game companies should strive for, even though these fonts are pretty small. I'll just have to use a magnifying glass to read them. But either way, it's kind of neat that they threw it all on one. That's just forward thinking right there. Well, anyway, this was another thing I wanted to check. And of course, you get optional teams. Maybe if I send this in, do you think they'll send them to me? It'll go to the wrong address. It'll go to Port Washington, New York, where they don't exist anymore, I'm sure. I just kind of wanted to see how good this game board is for $60, $64.36. Trying to see if I can get this thing open. And the fact that it was kind of hard to open, it kind of lets me, yeah, that's fairly new. I'm telling you, I don't know if this game got a lot of activity. You know, that's pretty neat. So you see that it's just you put your players on the court for the two-way action. There's a time clock over here. There's a scoreboard over here, and I'm sure you just grab one of your, I don't know, you could probably use the penny. Oh, that's probably what the penny's for, to do the time. Score, you can use whatever you like, but I got, probably 7 or 8 or more pieces right there. But this board looks much better than in the eBay advertisement there. So, but I can see little things for playing them close, playing them back, setting little markers on a lot of these little things. And I think even if you're playing solitaire type versions, you might need to have some of those things marked. So you know who's being double teamed, who isn't. The center is inside, or the center is outside. I want to know, was Willis Reed a solid outside shooter? He could position him outside from time to time. Wilt Chamberlain, I think he would stay inside no matter what the case. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to work out. But yeah, this board is like in mint condition. This thing, that's a nice little board. I mean, that is really pretty. But anyway, that is what Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball looks like from 1973. And once again, the board's in great shape. I'm just going to keep that open. It's similar in color to my Trailblazers 1985 matte. But anyway, you can roll stuff on here and see how things go. And you put all your players down there. But cool deal. This is exactly what I wanted. I didn't necessarily even need a full league of teams. I would just maybe like to play, some of the playoff matchups, maybe the championship matchup between the 73 Lakers and Knicks. That could be a lot of fun as well. But anyway, that is a somewhat quick look at Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball. And once again, that instruction booklet, I looked at other listings on eBay, and they had the instructions all on one page. I'm like going, this can't be super hard. So anyway, that is all for this episode. I'll probably have an update once I get around to rolling some dice and playing some original Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball. It certainly completes my collection of Strat materials. My last video was the Strat-O-Matic computer game from version 1.0 from 1993. If you haven't caught that video, I play one or two games of the original, the 1980s version of Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball once a while. And amazingly, that video gets as many views as any video I've ever had in the 3 to 4 to 5 years I've had this channel. So there's a lot of love out there for Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball. New, old computer. They've been around. One of their strengths is they're always there. They've never gone out of business. Back in the 1980s, there was a few more competing companies like Fast Break, Status Pro. But when video games came around, I'm talking about Sega Genesis, Nintendo's, games that started putting real professional players around 1990 came into play, and it started working some of the basic board games out of the system. And the last game standing was Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball. I mean, since then, we had, versions of Status Pro come back, and a few other games like Hoops and Bank Shot Basketball that have come back. But there was definitely a dark period where Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball, I'm certain, was their least selling game. So they may not update many card sets in Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball these days, but they are still around. That does speak volumes. And so I just appreciate the fact that they're around. And that is it. Strat-O-Matic Pro Basketball 1972-73 season looks pretty good. Have a good one.